What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Grimmerback here, bringing you guys the latest behind-the-bar reviews for Akatsuki no Yona, also known as Yona the Dawn, chapter 188. Let's get into this one because there were some really good points. And some not so great points, but better than the last chapter. I kind of like this because once again we're seeing that strength of Yona. Yona's not a timid little girl anymore. She's not going to sit behind and just watch stuff happen. Granted, she's still... it was pointed out to me in my comment section, so I'll regard that right now. In the last chapter review, I got some people saying, yes, I agree, this was not Yona's character, this doesn't really fit her at all, where's her character development? I also got some people defending her, saying she can't be a badass all the time. What do you expect? You know, she's still 16, this isn't backpedaling, this isn't this, this isn't that. I got a few comments like that, and granted, they weren't insulting or anything, they were just saying I fundamentally disagree. And that's fine. That's part of why I review. I want to open a dialogue. Let's open a discussion. Let's talk about the series that we love, right? And the opinions we do share. So, here's the thing. I just want to make this perfectly clear. In my last review, I did not say that she was necessarily going backward. Let's just say that her character as of now, it's not that she has to be the badass with the fire in her eyes all the time. That would be unrealistic. That's for Hawk to do. That's for Hawk to do. But that would not be a good character, to be a one-note character all the time. She should be vulnerable. She should show weakness. And in this situation that she's in, she should feel the walls kind of closing in. But that's where Jeha appears. Now, granted, she's still muddling things around in her mind a bit. But at the end of the last chapter, when that all went down, I more expected her, with the walls closing in, with her being fearful for everything and stuff. That's where she breaks down. Or she puts a smile on her face and tells him everything's fine, everything's fine. Meanwhile, he looks and says, well, why are you crying? And then we jump to that shocking scene that this side of her, she's been crying out of one eye the whole time. That is what I expected. Not for her to not break down, but I wanted lying straight to the face of one of her comrades, to one of her dragons. That's where I drew the line. I had a serious problem. But this chapter sort of redeems that, in a sense, because what we get here is Jeha has finally returned. We don't do a next day sort of idea. Jeha has returned and explains to the dragons what has transpired, what has happened, and how he feels like Yona wasn't telling him the truth, but the air around her was very wrong, so something most likely did happen, but he doesn't really know what can they do about it right now. They kind of have to play the wait-and-see approach as of now, where they're so limited. Limitations is the key part of this new, I'm hoping this is a mini-arc, that something bigger is going to happen. This is kind of like a transition arc. But yeah, so that's the theme of this arc, is limitation. Divide and conquer limitations. That's what I'm getting from this. They've divided up the Darkness Dragon and the Happy Hungry Bunch. They have divided them up into 3 separate, basically, groups, and they've also limited those groups from seeing each other or interacting with each other. So it's a smart tactic when you think about it, if you're viewing them as enemies. But here's the thing, is that Yona basically says, okay, I would like to see Suwon. And so it's like, okay, I'll try. And it's like, well, I'm supposed to keep his secret safe. That's fine, but I need to talk to him. I can't talk to anybody else. So let me talk to him. And they're like, all right. So it seems like a couple of days pass here or something, or maybe she's just been in tune the whole time and we haven't seen it. But when Minso comes back and basically says he has a very busy schedule for the next few days, you won't be able to see him anytime soon. He doesn't have a spare minute. And to be fair, he probably is super busy running a goddamn whole kingdom. He's got a lot of things to deal with, so I can fully get behind that. That's probably not a lie. It's simply I don't really have time for that. And okay, that seems like Suwon. Now, whether this actually ever reached his ear or not, I don't know. However, what happens here is what's key, is that she waits and says, fine, dandy, I'll just have to wait. Then she puts on her old hood and cloak, and she's like, I'm a member of the Fellowship of the Ring. I'm not waiting around. I'm Yona. I'm going to go do shit. I'm going to make this happen. And I'm like, all right, we got Yona back. Yona's back. That little slip up at the end of the last chapter is 90% forgiven for her not just sitting around like a pretty daisy like she's been doing for chapter on chapter end and not fighting back, not talking back, not doing anything. Now we're seeing it's like, yeah, okay, here we go. So she puts on her old hood. We got old Yona back, and she's like, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I've been watching Minso and Jodo, like how they've been interacting and when they think I'm coming and going and the timing of the guards and everything. So whether this implies that since she asked, like since she found out the secret from that day and it's been, I don't know, 5-6 days, a week, longer, a fortnight, maybe, we're not really given an indication here, or did she do it that very night? I'm led to believe it's been a few days that when she found out she couldn't meet him anytime soon, she bided her time for a few days, she waited, and then she, you know, kind of surveyed how she was going to basically escape and sneak in to get a word with him. So, under that, guys, either way, good planning on Yona's part. She does this, she sneaks around all the guards, then she goes in, and there's, you know, the study, the library, the place that Suwon, the office that he hangs out in. The lights are still on. She goes to rat-tat-tat on the door, or goes to open the door, and then she hears a noise. She's like, what's that sound? And there's someone standing behind her. And before we got this reveal, I knew, right here in Volume 1, we had this here somewhere. I'm going to find it. I am going to find it, because it was here. Right here. No, not there. And no. There it is. Right there. That eye. I was like, that's the same. It's the same. It's almost the exact same scene. It's back at the castle. It's the same incident. She was walking around at night. She was looking, and all of a sudden, this guy came out of nowhere. And I was like, before we even knew that, I saw that and I went, that's the same guy. That's got to be the same guy. We get a little more. We get this person's name and we see that he's got some sort of tattoo or scar down his eye. So we see a little more of this evil looking character. And the art style for this, sometimes it's not as maybe polished as a lot of other art styles. It's not as epic looking or stuff. It's more soft line drawing. However, you can't deny, like, when you see Hawk livid and pissed and, like, in a murderous rage, or you see a character like that who's meant to be creepy, they can draw some really creepy-looking art. Like, this is some high-tier, like, you can feel that off the page, like, this is freaky, you know? This is scary. That man is frightening. And he grabs her, just doesn't say anything. What are you? And slams her, you know, grabs her by the throat, it seems. I don't really see that part. It's kind of like she grabs right here, but I guess it's more like right here. Grabs her, and it's like, Yona realizes, I'm going to be killed. It's the same line. That's what tipped me off when she said, I'm going to be killed. That's when it tipped me off. This is the same damn person. And a few pages later, she does recognize that's the same one when I was chased out of the castle. It's the same pair of eyes. It's the same person. She doesn't say this to Suwon, but she realizes that she was getting probably close to Suwon. She was trying to find him back then, and that's why. So that was Suwon's guard. His name is Masahiryu, I believe. Hiryu. Anyways, H-I. I don't know how to pronounce it, but anyways, Mr. Hiryu. And Suwon, all right, that's enough. He breaks it up. He's in between, and he says, Yona, go inside and whatever. So whatever Suwon probably talked to him about, probably said, because he tells him, stand down. I'm in alliance with this woman. Stand down. You know, and then he kind of just like, doom. It's like you can see the dread coming off of him, and he kind of backs off. Now, Suwon might have had more words to say to him after that. We're not privy to that. Either way, they are back in the office. They are in the study together. This is where Suwon, you know, checks and says, he grabbed you. I'm sorry about that. Let's escort you back to your room, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't ask why she's out. Doesn't ask any of those questions. Just basically says, we're going to escort you back to your room. And, you know, Yona is, right now, this makes sense for her character. For her to kind of stagger here. She's like, she was just, like, that's a traumatic experience to relive. And she remembers it. I can get behind her at this point faltering. Unlike last chapter where she didn't fully have that trigger. Here, like if the scene had been swapped and then we had the scene with Soo-won and then Jae-ha show up, that would have made a little more sense. She feels, once again, like the helpless 15-year-old princess who knew nothing about sword fighting, who knew nothing about war, who knew nothing about survival, and only about pretty things and being a brat. That I could have gotten behind, because that was the night where everything went down, right? And that was like that was our first indication that I just showed in the first volume that where she was terrified. So that all happens, right? And then, so she staggers a little bit, but here, no, she's a little more confident. She goes through some stuff, and Soo-won's like kind of talking, like trying to get her out of there quickly, and she stands her ground, you know, and she just basically pulls, you know, a Nux Taku with the chakra feet, and says, all right, here's what we do. I need to come and go as I please. Now, first off, when I reread this, I read this the first time, and I thought, what, do you mean like go anywhere in the castle and stuff? Now on reread, I believe what she means is I can come to your study and office and like talk with you when I want. I don't want to be harassed. I can leave my room and come here, go back and forth. That's what I'm now believing that she's saying, because here she indicates I am severely limited on who I can associate with and what I can talk about, where I can go and what I can do. Now, I'm here to keep your secret. She blatantly tells him, like, I've been told to keep your secret safe. Like, so, and I intend to do that. But you need to give me a little something back. That would be best for both of us. Like, I can't just do that for free, pretty much. It's not really what she said, but it's just kind of like, look, not only have you limited me before, but now I'm even more limited that I can't even see my comrades and friends. You got to give me something in return. I can't just keep your secret and have more limitations placed on me that were unnecessary in the beginning. So it's like, okay, you got to give me some back and forth here. Soo-won basically agrees to this. But once again, at first I was curious about the nature of it, but I believe it's so that he can, like, we're going to see a lot more Yona and Soo-won interactions and discussions. And that, actually, I'm very excited for. I'm really excited for that, because maybe we'll get a lot more insight into his character. Maybe we'll get some more insight into the development of where this is going to lead next for the coming arcs of the story. There's just a lot here to kind of go over and unpack with that statement, with the fact that we're going to see that. I'm really curious about this. I'm really happy to see this go down. It's the next half of the chapter that I'm just a little bit like, kind of backpedaling a little bit again here. Now. Before I get too much hate on that statement like last chapter, I said that this chapter was far better and much more Yona-esque like than before. It's okay that she was afraid of this really creepy-ass guard of Soo-won's. And it also begs the question here. I would be the first reaction when she gets out and she realizes, and it's the right thinking, she's got the right attitude here. She goes, alright, so now I can come and go here as I please. I might be able to gather more information. Maybe over time I can change the present conditions and the situation and see what I can do. I will do my best. And right now, everyone is safe. Everything is fine. I'll keep the secret. Everything's all good. And then we see that her words are strong, but her facial expression is just tormented. She's ready to break down. That is the Yona we know. She's strong in her thinking, her logic is sound, and she knows what she has to do, but it's still very hard on her. That right there was probably the best part of the chapter, where we see that Yona is in that mindset. She's still the Yona we know, the one that's developed and always has an ace up her sleeve, who goes to meet Soo-won against a bunch of guards, who goes to help the fire tribe, who goes into war, who does this, who lets herself be captured by a pirate crew, who lets herself do this, who lets herself do that, who does everything, you know, no matter how much she cries and no matter facial expression, she always has the forethought of, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make this happen, no matter how scared I am, sort of idea. And I'm like, good. And then we see that once again, it's the character we know. She's still terrified. It's still, and I'm sure that encounter hasn't gone away yet. And then it's brought up here, like, I'm good with this, is that just as she's making her way back to her room. Now, I am curious as to how Soo-won didn't say, alright, but for right now, I'm going to call Jo-do and inform. Like, that should have been the case here. This situation's a little odd, because he said, I'm going to go find someone to escort you back to your room, whether Min-so or Jo-do or somebody like that, right? Why they didn't do that right here, yes, she can come and go as she pleases now, but however, it's middle of the night, Buddy is, probably hasn't been informed, and Soo-won now needs to be informed Min-so or Jo-do anyways that Yona will be permitted to come and go as she pleases from my study to her room and blah, 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 or whatever the agreed upon condition truly is. That was left kind of vague. But you'd think that she would want that known right away, because now if she's caught outside, Soo-won hasn't informed anybody from what we saw. I mean, it just seems a little odd. And none of this would have happened had that been the case, because here we see that she's of course upset with herself a little bit and a little, like, overwhelmed is the right word, understandably. And then Hawk. Hawk is there with some Sky Tribe troops, and they're, he's still part of that company, talking back and forth. Hey, newbie, aren't you an acquaintance? Blah, blah, blah. And said, hey, trained with us earlier. When Yona sees Hawk, she realized it's really Hawk. He's really here. He really did become a Sky Tribe soldier. And, sees Hawk basically in good spirits, in a good mood, and she's happy about this. And then Hawk looks over, makes eye contact with her, and she realizes, like, right there, bit of an issue, because right away she's a little like, uh-oh, he saw me, I better run. What would have made more sense to me is that she might have walked forward and then seen that creepy-ass guard of Soo-won's standing behind the troops in the shadows. Instead, she turns and sees him, and then she starts even running further. Like, I would have liked it more where she was afraid that that guy would sneak attack Hawk or something and was watching. Like, it just, her initial reaction to run away seems a little but afterwards, I'm totally on board with it. But it's just like, I still don't like the fact that she was so confident while kidnapped by an enemy country, and Hawk was going to go to battle with an entire in war, and she was just there. Hawk can't be killed by anyone. Like, Buddy literally looked at her and said, I'm going to go kill Hawk, and she's like, have fun. No doubt in her mind that Hawk can't die. Hawk is invincible in her mind. Where did that attitude go? That's my problem. Does she think that this creepy guy, just because she can creep her out? When Hawk finds out that that's the dude who put her... If he sees those bruises, he's going to find out who the hell it was, and he's going to start beating the shit out of that guy. I don't care how strong they're going to make believe that this wannabe ninja dude is. Hawk is stronger. Hawk is the strongest character in the series. I mean, even Zena would get tired of getting cut up by Hawk again and again and again and again and again. So, Hawk ain't being beat by this guy. Maybe he'll be backstabbed, like a cheap shot on him, but Hawk will grab him by the face, slam him in the ground, and be like, I don't care about this alliance. You touch the princess. I'm going to make this pavement be your best friend with your face for the rest of your life before I end it. Like, that is Hawk's attitude. That's what's going to go down. Does it make me hyped for that confrontation now? Absolutely. So once again, this chapter did a very good job of doing that. I just don't like the fact that they made eye contact, she kind of runs away, and she still has that forethought. I get the other reasoning. I just wish that one line had been taken out, and this is what I didn't like, is that, could she not, like, Hawk will receive the death penalty. Hawk will escape the jail! Like, no, seriously. Once again, she was using perfectly sound logic in the meeting with Soo-won. Yes, was it overwhelming and terrifying? Yes, but she made perfect sound logic. It's hard, but she did it anyways. Where is this logic coming from that they're going to actually successfully execute Hawk? You know what would happen if they tried to execute Hawk? The 4 dragons will destroy the castle. That's what's going to happen. Why doesn't she realize that yet? That's my problem here. The fact that they think that anybody in that castle can actually successfully execute Hawk in the first place, no sense. And the fact that they think that the dragons wouldn't go on a rampage when they find out that Hawk is dead, they're not going to buy any story. Like, Yona has to realize that even if they said, oh, Hawk tripped and fell and died down the stairs like Kuina from One Piece or some shit, right? No. The dragons won't buy that, and they'll burn the castle to the ground. So what is she afraid of? No, he won't get the death penalty. She's afraid that even if they see each other, it's like, how will that ever change, though? Like, it's my one problem with this reasoning, is that he'll receive the death penalty and Hawk will be killed. I understand that is why she would run away from him. And she's crying and stuff, and she sees the guard and realizes, if we're seen together, like, this will happen and stuff. I'm like, yeah, but nothing's going to change that. You know Suwon's secret, and they're never, ever going to, like, has she not realized that she'll never, ever be able to see Hawk now that she knows the secret? If that is her attitude now, how is that going to change in 30 years from now? If, let's say Suwon's still alive in 30 years, she's still not going to be able to see Hawk within those 30 years. By her own logic, if we're seen together, they're going to kill him, regardless if I tell the secret or not. So, that's just my problem. She was sound reasoning through this chapter, and then just that little bit at the end, just kind of... And once again, the dragons would burn the castle to the ground. Zeno already stated before any of this was a thing, he goes, do you want to take Hyrule Castle back? We can. If we actually put in effort and tried, one castle is nothing. They actually threatened, if anything happens, we'll burn down an entire country, including Hawk. But the 4 dragons and Hawk would burn down an entire country. They would take care of a country overnight. They'd sweep a country. What's one castle? As Zeno had pointed out before. Why is Yona so scared of this? It doesn't make sense. I understand her being scared of Buddy. Being scared of that bodyguard dude. That dude's creepy as fuck. That, yeah. And being traumatized by him, again, yes. Got that. She had that reasoning kind of already. She was already running away from Hawk with the same mindset before she noticed that that guard guy was watching. So, like, once again, I just wish the order of panels had been different, then I'd have nothing to nitpick and gripe about. That's my only problem. It was my problem last chapter with her character, and it's my problem with this one little bit. This is only nitpick. This was still a pretty good chapter. It's my one little nitpick with this chapter, that she's still under the impression that somebody will actually be able to physically execute Hawk. Like they could actually pass down that order. Hawk, first off, wouldn't be captured. He'd slaughter half the army. The dragons would find out, join him, and then they'd take the castle down. So, I don't, like, there's no fear, like, the fear just doesn't make sense to me. But, anyways, that was the chapter. Yona hides from Hawk, crying, and Hawk keeps yelling, "Princess!" And that's where we're left off right now. So, don't know where next chapter is going to go. As I said, I'm more intrigued, even though the Hawk, Yona stuff, I'm you know, like, come on, can we just see them together again and, like, her just, like, break down? Because that's what she needs to do. She needs to break down. It's going to be either Zeno, Jeha, or Hawk that she's going to break down in front of. And that's going to be it. But I'm more curious, honestly, to see the Suwon and Yona conversations and what they'll end up talking about if she can come and go freely. So, but what do you guys think of the chapter? What did you think of the review? Like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. Don't forget to hit the bell notification if you guys want to know every single time I drop a video. And if you guys are interested in multiple different mangas and Discord and stuff like that, the link to my Discord is in the box down below. Drink responsibly as always. This has been Griever with your Behind the Bar reviews for Akatsuki no Yona, also known as Yona the Dawn, chapter 188. See you back here. I believe the chapter's coming out around March 4th or 5th. So, first week of March-ish, we'll have the next chapter, and I'm excited for 189. See you next time.